Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the newest episode of Semi-Pro. I'm Dalton Barrett. Joining me today, I have Bobbin, Daniel, and Josh because we watched Old.
Yeah. I think this beach makes you old. 2021.
The music's playing.
Daniel, I want you to know that you were on beat again. For people listening, Daniel can't hear the music, and somehow every time he does that, he's on beat. Bobbin was not on beat.
No, I was.
Did the beat go off?
Oh. Like right on the beat, Daniel just goes, I think the beach makes you old.
2021.
Yeah, you did say 2021. That's true. That's a true fact.
That is when this movie came out.
Speaking of this movie,
You know, I know that COVID was like a horrible thing, and a lot of people died and lost their jobs. But I think this was the real worst thing to come out of it. Because if it weren't for COVID, this movie never would have made it to theaters.
See, I would have said, probably not. But then
This would have been direct to DVD schlock had it not been for COVID.
I'd agree with you. But they released The Visit, and there wasn't even a global pandemic going on at that point.
Yeah, no, that is
I think
damn.
I think post The Visit, Shyamalan had a lot less clout. I think he's lost a lot of clout because he got a ton of clout.
So you're saying M. Night fell off?
Yeah, kinda. I really think after all of the bad movies that he's released, people really quit wanting to see his movies. So I think I would have to agree with Daniel, despite the fact that The Visit got a theatrical release. I think by the time we get to Old, this movie would have been on the Sci-Fi Channel.
This movie, no, the Sci-Fi Channel is too good.
This movie is too good for it. Or yeah. This movie broke me.
The movie has melted Daniel's brain.
Direct to Netflix, maybe?
Probably.
I can see it.
Shyamalan strikes
Or like
up a Netflix.
like Hulu maybe.
This isn't like this isn't a movie. It is a
Paramount
concept. Straight to Quibi.
They cut this
To
movie-
Quibi with you.
They cut this to a bunch of Quibi shorts.
I genuinely, like, I know Quibi crashed and burned, but this would have been a great Quibi short.
Yeah. You could fit everything that is good about this movie into about 10 minutes.
What if Old was a found footage short film?
What if Old was a book?
It was.
I know.
I think perhaps that was the joke.
Perhaps it was.
This movie has destroyed my brain. What little remained.
So what happens in this movie? The beach makes them old.
The beach makes them young. They get much younger as every hour passes.
Hold on.
Yeah, honestly, I think that would have been more interesting. Like seeing someone age backwards and then like just instant Benjamin Buttoning and then they turn into a baby and then just turn into a bunch of cells.
It is more interesting, which is why Futurama did it for an episode in like 1993 or whatever.
No, that makes sense.
So the beach makes them old.
Yes.
Hold on. No. So
Hold up. We them boys.
Full synopsis, right?
I don't want to.
There's okay.
It mainly
The metallic poles of Earth.
All right, Dan.
It is scientific. It's not ridiculous
not scientific.
nonsense.
It's not scientific. It doesn't work like that, man.
What would you know about science?
Also, don't
More
blame
than M. Night
Daniel.
Shyamalan.
Don't blame Daniel for trying to say that it's scientific when it's in the movie. This isn't
When
a Josh
movie
in the
straight
Planet
up
of the
says
Apes.
it's scientific.
This is
Like-
not Josh in Planet of the Apes. It's not that situation where the movie says one thing and he says something different.
Right. This isn't like information I got off the internet. This is straight up the movie says it. The main characters of the film find a book and read it, and the book says this.
So the movie follows a family. The parents are trying to get divorced.
Yes.
And
And
they
the
they
mother, it's not revealed instantly, but the mother has a tumor in her stomach.
Yeah.
It's suggested that there's some sort of medical condition that they don't want to talk about or tell the kids.
So
And then
they
that-
take them to a resort. They take the kids to a beach as several other people go to the beach after them.
Despite the fact that they'll
And
just have a fight and an argument right in front of their kids, they don't want to tell
Yeah.
them about their mom's
that's
crippling
actually-
medical condition.
That's a
Right.
recurring thing throughout the movie because there's a point later too where they have a conversation that they are acting like it's secret, but then they pan and they're like 2 steps away from the kids. I
This
love
is a reference to M. Night's parents arguing in front of him.
and getting a divorce in front of him.
so on this beach, we have our main family. We have world class written characters such as Jaren, British guy, mid-sized sedan, and
mid-size sedan's mid-size sedan's girlfriend, but we don't know that yet.
yeah,
The
she's dead.
the British guy Charles,
Charles.
He
his
is in
girlfriend.
charge, from what I hear. His,
Yeah.
his girlfriend, who is way too young for him, and
His
her,
girlfriend, yeah,
or wait, no, his mother,
and his daughter with this girl.
right?
Also, keeping in mind, this is a beach that they were told to go to. It's not like this was the beach they planned.
Right,
They were
the management of
recruited,
the resort
basically.
that they're
Yeah.
at.
Yeah,
The management
they
of the
were
resort
just
that
like, yeah,
goes-
we've got this private beach. You guys seem like you should go there.
You may or may not get old. I cannot confirm or deny the aging process which will happen on the old beach.
Before they go to the old beach, the youngest of the main family, Trent, he becomes friends with another child called Idlib at the resort, who like they have a game where they make codes and then write them to each other.
They
and
have a
to
game where they
code.
make babies.
I
Oh, no, that's later in the movie.
I still can't go with the fact this like M. Night does not know what a human acts like, and then he decides to write movies with a lot of humans in it. M. Night,
I really just wish that someone else would write his dialogue for him. Like,
right, M. Night
just get a real person, please,
a-
M. Night.
M. Night is a concept man. He goes, "Hey, what if we had this beach that makes you old and there's like body horror and stuff?" And then someone else comes in and goes, "Yeah, I'll write that, but make it look like humans are talking to each other."
And part of the problem is his concepts are not necessarily like easy to adapt concepts.
Right.
Like
They're pretty interesting, unique.
yeah,
concepts.
absolutely. They're not necessarily something that's easy to turn into a movie. You know? Like this concept of a beach that makes you old is a great like concept on paper. I don't know what a good version of this movie looks like.
It looks like the graphic novel it was based on.
I guess yeah, you
Yeah,
The
probably.
good version of this movie is the movie. This movie's a masterpiece.
Old sweep, perhaps.
I keep forgetting that, like, as we're talking about M. Night Shyamalan being a concept man, this is not his concept. It's someone else's.
Right.
He stole it.
There's also I'm looking at the quotes of this movie because I can't remember any because this movie has the worst.
You
dialogue.
can't remember anything that happens in this.
And
god-awful
there's
movie.
one very memorable.
Oh yeah,
quote.
that my favorite quote from Midsize Sedan where he says, "Oh damn," I really like that one.
Me too. I'm a big fan.
The other quote from Midsize Sedan that we missed was as people were noticing.
Oh, when he says, "Oh damn."
So apparently they're noticing the signs of aging because they are more noticeable on certain skin colors, and he goes, "First time they wish they were black."
Because
Is that a
black
real
don't.
line he said?
Apparently,
said that.
according
Well-
to quotes on IMDb.
It's because black don't crack.
Right. No, that is true. I feel like I would have remembered a line that ridiculous.
I feel while I say that,
M. Night Shyamalan wrote "Black Don't Crack" into his movie, and we all forgot. No one noticed that M. Night Shyamalan literally wrote "Black Don't Crack" into old.
I will say one thing I appreciate about this movie
Nothing.
is it's pretty quick to get into the part that you want to see. Like they get onto the beach. and about
Well,
50
well,
I don't want to see any of this.
yeah. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the newest episode of Semi Pro. I'm Dalton Barrett. Joining me today, I have Bobbin, Daniel, and Josh because we watched Old.
Yeah. I think this beach makes you old. 2021.
The music's playing.
Daniel, I want you to know that you were on beat again. For people listening, Daniel can't hear the music, and somehow every time he does that, he's on beat. Bobbin was not on beat.
No, I was.
Did the beat go off?
Oh. Like right on the beat, Daniel just goes, I think the beach makes you old.
2021.
Yeah, you did say 2021. That's true. That's a true fact.
That is when this movie came out.
Speaking of this movie,
You know, I know that COVID was like a horrible thing, and a lot of people died and lost their jobs. But I think this was the real worst thing to come out of it. Because if it weren't for COVID, this movie never would have made it to theaters.
See, I would have said, probably not. But then
This would have been direct to DVD schlock had it not been for
here's the thing,
COVID.
I'd agree with you. But they released The Visit, and there wasn't even a global pandemic going on at that point.
Yeah, no, that is
I think
Damn.
post
Damn.
I think post The Visit, Shyamalan had a lot less clout. I think he's lost a lot of clout because he got a ton of clout.
So you're saying M. Night fell off?
Yeah, kinda. I really think after all of the bad movies that he's released, people really quit wanting to see his movies. So I think I would have to agree with Daniel, despite the fact that The Visit got a theatrical release. I think by the time we get to Old, this movie would have been on the Sci-Fi Channel.
This movie, no, the Sci-Fi Channel. Is too good.
This movie is too good for it. Or yeah. This movie broke me.
The movie has melted Daniel's brain.
Direct to Netflix, maybe?
Probably.
I can see it.
Shyamalan strikes
Or like-
up a
Well,
Netflix.
Like Hulu, maybe.
This isn't like this isn't a movie. It is a
Paramount Plus.
concept. straight to Quibi.
They cut this
To
movie-
Quibi with you.
They cut this to a bunch of Quibi shorts.
I genuinely, like, I know Quibi crashed and burned, but this would have been a great Quibi short.
Yeah. You could fit everything that is good about this movie into about 10 minutes.
What
Yeah.
if Old was a found footage short film?
What if Old was a book?
It was.
I know.
I think perhaps that was the joke.
Perhaps it was.
This movie has destroyed my brain. What little remained.
Mm.
So what happens in this movie? The beach makes them old.
The beach makes them young. They
Which
get
is-
they get much younger as every
Is-
hour passes.
Hold on.
Yeah, honestly, I think that would have been more interesting. Like
It is.
seeing someone age backwards and then like just instant Benjamin buttoning and then they turn into a baby and then just turn into a bunch of cells.
It is more interesting, which is why Futurama did it for an episode in like 1993 or whatever.
No, that makes sense.
Ah!
The
So
movie
beach-
Old.
So the beach makes them old.
Yes.
Hold on. No. So
Hold up.
full-
We done
full-
boys.
Full synopsis, right?
I don't want to.
There's okay.
It mainly.
The metallic poles of
No.
Earth.
All right, Dan.
It is scientific. It's not
It's
ridiculous
not scientific.
nonsense.
It's not scientific. It doesn't work like that, man.
What would you know about science?
Also, don't
More
blame
than M. Night
Daniel.
Shyamalan.
Don't blame Daniel for trying to say that it's scientific when it's in the movie. This isn't
When
a
the
Josh
movie
in the
straight
Planet
up
of the
says
Apes.
it's scientific.
This is
Like
not
that-
Josh in Planet of the Apes. It's not that situation where the movie says one thing and he says something different.
Right. This isn't like information I got off the internet. This is straight up the movie says it. The main characters of the film find a book and read it, and the book says this.
Ah!
So the movie follows a family. The parents are trying to get divorced.
Yes. And
they-
the
they-
mother, it's not revealed instantly, but the mother has a tumor in her stomach. It's suggested that there's some sort of medical condition that they don't want to talk about or tell the kids.
So
And then
they
that-
take them to a resort. They take the kids to a beach, as several other people go to the beach after them.
Despite the fact that they'll
And-
just have a fight and an argument right in front of their kids, they don't want to tell
Yeah.
them about their mom's
that's
crippling
actually-
medical condition.
That's a
Right.
recurring thing throughout the movie because there's a point later too where they have a conversation that they are acting like it's secret, but then they pan and they're like 2 steps away from the kids.
This
love-
is a reference to M. Night's parents arguing in front of him.
and getting a divorce in front of him.
So on this beach, we have our main family. We have world class written characters such as Jaren, British guy, mid-sized sedan, and
Mid-size sedan's mid-size sedan's girlfriend, but we don't know that yet.
yeah,
The
she's dead.
the British guy Charles, his
Charles.
He
his
is in
girlfriend.
charge, from what I hear.
Yeah.
His girlfriend, who is way too young for him, and
His
her,
girlfriend, yeah,
or wait, no, his mother,
and his daughter with this girl.
right?
Also, keeping in mind, this is a beach that they were told to go to. It's not like this was the beach they planned.
Right,
They were
the management of
recruited,
the resort
basically.
that they're
Yeah.
at.
Yeah,
The management
they
of the
were
resort
just
that
like, yeah,
goes-
we've got this private beach. You guys seem like you should go there.
You may or may not get old. I cannot confirm or deny the aging process which will happen on the old beach.
Before they go to the old beach, the youngest of the main family, Trent, he becomes friends with another child called Idlib at the resort, who like they have a game where they make codes and then write them to each other.
They have a
to
game where they
code.
make babies.
I
Oh, no, that's later in the movie.
I still can't go over the fact this like M. Night does not know what a human acts like, and then he decides to write movies with a lot of humans in it. M. Night,
I really just wish that someone else would write his dialogue for him. Like,
Right, M. Night is
just get a real person, please,
a-
M. Night.
M. Night is a concept man. He goes, "Hey, what if we had this beach that makes you old and there's like body horror and stuff?" And then someone else comes in and goes, "Yeah, I'll write that, but make it look like humans are talking to each other."
It's and part of the problem is his concepts are not necessarily like easy to adapt concepts.
Right.
Like it's
They're pretty interesting, unique.
yeah,
concepts.
absolutely. They're not necessarily something that's easy to turn into a movie. You know? Like this concept of a beach that makes you old is a great like concept on paper. I don't know what a good version of this movie looks like.
It looks like the graphic novel it was based on.
I guess yeah, you probably
Yeah,
The
probably.
good
So he-
version of this movie is the movie. This movie's a masterpiece.
Old
I-
sweep, perhaps.
I keep forgetting that, like, as we're talking about M. Night Shyamalan being a concept man, this is not his concept. It's someone else's.
Right.
He stole it.
There's also I'm looking at the quotes of this movie because I can't remember any because this movie has the worst.
You
dialogue.
can't remember anything that happens in this.
And
god-awful
there's
movie.
one very memorable.
Oh yeah,
quote.
that my favorite quote from Midsize Sedan where he says, "Oh damn," I really like that one.
Me too. I'm a big fan.
The other quote from Midsize Sedan that we missed was as people were noticing.
Oh, when he says, "Oh damn,"
So apparently they're noticing the signs of aging because they are more noticeable on certain skin colors, and he goes, "First time they wish they were black."
Because
Is that a
black
real
don't.
line he said?
Apparently,
said
according
Well-
to quotes on IMDb.
It's because black don't crack.
Right. No, that is true. I feel like I would have remembered a line that ridiculous.
I feel while I said I
M.
don't
Night
remember.
Shyamalan wrote "Black Don't Crack" into his movie, and we all forgot. No one noticed that M. Night Shyamalan literally wrote "Black Don't Crack" into Old.
I will say one thing I appreciate about this movie
Nothing.
is it's pretty quick to get into the part that you want to see. Like they get onto the beach. at about
Well,
50
well,
I don't want to see any of this.
yeah. There's no part of this movie that I want to see. So.
Before we actually watched the movie, I remember me and Dan were talking because we just watched The Visit, and we were like, "Okay, next week's gonna be fun. Old's like a fun movie. It's got an interesting concept. I'm sure it'll be an entertaining time." And then we started watching it, and I could feel myself growing old.
I continue my defense of Old in saying I think it is far more entertaining than The Visit, and I think
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
I don't think
Bobbin,
anyone would
nobody
disagree
is
with
denying
that.
that. That
That
just
is
doesn't mean
that is
anything.
not saying anything. Like Visit was
Old
so
is
bad.
is a fun little flick that has things happen in it. There you go.
Are most movies not?
Do
things in
do
which
things
happens?
happen?
It has the one cool scene.
Yeah.
That's it.
This entire movie. So okay, they all get down to the beach at about 15 minutes into the movie, and then they start growing old. And like it's
No.
there's like a
They
5-minute.
will never
little-
grow old.
It's like a 5-minute montage of all of them just kind of like playing on the beach and stuff, and then the dead body washes up on the shore, and mid-sized sedan goes, "Oh damn."
Why was
And
your
then-
God
mid-sized
bless
sedan-
mid-sized sedan.
Why was your impression of him so quiet?
He says it quietly in the movie.
he does say it pretty quietly.
But then there's like a woman that washes up on the shore, and mid-sized Dan, who's apparently a rapper, is like, "Oh yeah, I know her. We met up last night, and we talked
Right,
about how we both have
woman-
debilitating illnesses."
A woman died, and his reaction was, "Oh, damn! I think she liked me."
No, that was literally it because he was in. for
That's
that
not
one
even a
to,
joke. He just said that.
They
to the
also
character
refuse- they also
named
refuse-
Guy. Sorry, Josh.
No, the character named Guy is also stupid. Every name, I hated every name in this movie.
I hated this movie.
That's kind of a Shyamalan trend, is it not?
Dumb names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, you're probably correct. Correct is what I meant to
In
say.
this movie,
My
we
bad.
had what was it? Not Madlib. What was his name?
Idlib.
Idlib,
Idlib.
mid-sized sedan, Guy.
Nah, Midsize Sedan's a cracked
It's
name. You need to quit. Get off this Midnight Sedan slander.
M. Night, this is okay. Just because we're
What was,
watching
what was the
back to
girl's
back.
name? Madden.
Maddox.
Yeah.
Maddox.
Madden.
Yeah. She
John
starts
Maddox.
football. It's meant to be like a 15-year-old girl, but throughout the entire movie, it's played by John Madden.
That's another thing. Why did because I thought that it was like they aged until they got to like adulthood and then kind of stopped aging, but
Nah.
that's not the case. So why did
No, they were
why did-
always aging. Adults just age slower, but they exaggerated that a lot.
Adults
guess.
do age slower.
But why? Okay, but
Like in real life, it's a whole lot more difficult to tell the difference between a 13-year-old. Or no, it's a whole lot more difficult to tell the difference between a 20-year-old and a 25-year-old than it is a 10-year-old and a 15-year-old. You
I
know?
suppose
No.
that is true.
Like
No,
that,
I'm with Dalton though.
that's just I don't want to say normal.
I think it's a little silly that the girl had only 3 actresses and the boy had like 5.
That is silly. But
This
that's because
movie
M.
is
Night
silly.
Shyamalan is a sexist.
Goofy R movie.
That's because the boy needed to look older so that he could make a child.
Right.
Because M. Night
Wait.
Shyamalan is into children having babies.
Correct.
Yeah, we gotta address that bit because that was the
But-
weirdest part of this
We'll
movie.
get to that, Bob, and there's a
The
lot
thing,
between
the thing
here
is,
and
you
there.
say that, but I don't even think that was the weirdest part of this movie.
It's
I
not.
wish
It's
it
just
was.
really weird.
Right, it's probably the most out of place part of this movie.
Most sane moment in old.
Honestly, it was one of the more. I guess it succeeded in being unsettling.
Well, that's it. I think
Yeah.
it just existed to be creepy. Like it was just
I
like
don't know that it was that creepy.
no, but
I think it was just. I don't think that was the intention, though. I do think it was kind of creepy, but I don't think that was the. I think it was just M. Night was
think-
trying to do that to show that the beach makes them old. 2021.
Right, well, this
I
is, like,
think
it was
M.
an-
Night
I
wanted
just
to
meant
do
was
it
an
because-
intense scene.
He wanted
is
children
creepy.
to have sex.
Like that's the thing. It doesn't come across as like it's creepy in the context of the movie. It's more creepy in real life because of the real life implications of that. You know? That's a whole lot creepier to me. We're getting ahead of ourselves though.
Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
that happens. We only just got to mid-sized sedan and saying no Dan.
Right.
Mid-sized
So
sedan,
then,
who is apparently a rapper that the main daughter likes, and then
and
so upon-
British guy from Abe Lincoln Vampire Hunter is horribly racist and instantly thinks that he's responsible for this dead
Right.
woman.
immediately after he like starts looking at him and he's like, hey, I want to. Even at the beginning of the movie, when his family's sitting down there like lawn chairs and everything, he sees that they're near mid-sized sedan and he goes, hey, let's go to the other side of the beach.
Yeah. Was that
yeah, that
intentional?
was
Did that come across
instant.
as intentional or was it
No, I think that was
No,
intentional.
I think it was meant to be like he's just horribly racist.
cool? Because that's the vibe I got. I just wasn't sure if they were doing that on purpose or if it was like a Spider-Man Lotus
Or if M
thing.
Night is just racist.
Yeah.
But no, I think that
Both
was
are
intentional.
possible.
And then, so after that, the British dude's mum
Please make it
also
stop.
dies.
Please make it stop. I can't do this anymore. I can't. I just can't do it.
And then I think the dog dies.
Yes, then the dog dies.
Rest
Which
in peace.
really, the dog definitely should have died sooner.
Mhm.
Right.
Although I
But-
guess it is a small dog. Those do live longer.
But the time rules don't make any sense. There's no reason.
Well, yeah,
to try
no,
and
the
add
time
logic to
rules
them.
aren't.
Well,
Yeah.
a big thing with horror movies is that you really need the rules of the movie to make sense.
I mean,
Like-
realistically, which I know is ridiculous because nothing about this is realistic. But they should have all died within like
Yeah.
30 minutes if they weren't like eating. Like if they weren't eating every second, they should have died.
Well, and if the rules were gonna make sense. But like
Right.
depending on because the rules that they give for how the time operates are not actually accurate to what the movie portrays as what's happening. For instance, the when Cheater Wife gets surgery on her side and it heals in seconds. For something like that to heal would take weeks, and it heals in seconds. And so the time frame that they are presenting does not necessarily add up to what would be accurate to a movie like this. So you either have to give it some grace or give it no grace, and I'll just really let you make that distinction on your own.
No,
I
you're right.
refuse to.
because, in that one scene where the brother was holding the sister's face for a few seconds, the girl said that was a few days.
We just aged 3 days while you did that.
Right. So for her deep cut to heal in a couple seconds is kind of insane.
Also, that baby was born in like a day.
Right.
That's 9 months. So is 9 months a day?
Well, that's like a movie thing of just
Ignoring the
time
rules that the movie
that they
presents?
establish.
right. Really,
Realistically,
the-
Josh? You
no,
want to keep going?
like I say, you need like a hard set of rules. Like in Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy only gets you while you sleep. You can't do anything during the day. He can't do anything to you. But But then
Yeah, this
In this
movie's
movie-
just as good as Nightmare on Elm Street.
in this movie, they set out the rule. Okay, every 30 minutes you age a year, and then I think the guy goes like, okay, so we've aged 5 years while we've been here or something. But they have no way of telling that to the audience. It should have done more like, I don't know, every 10 minutes you age a year or something, every 15, something that makes it a bit more like
Should have
Like-
never
like a
made
sec-
this movie.
they shouldn't have.
Th-
And
th-
this movie
there's-
only got made because there was COVID, and they're like, oh god, we need people aren't going to go to cinemas. We need something, and then like, hey, I got a new movie.
So
And-
anyways,
So I just read this French book. What if I made it racist?
getting to the real MVP of the film, Jaren, my boy Jaren.
mid-sized
Yo,
today.
shout out Jaren.
Yo, shout out Jaren. Jaren was on
Yo,
the
he
swim
was
team.
on the high school swim team.
The one thing I remember about Jaren is he has one scene where he just keeps going, "My name is Jaren,"
My name is Jaren.
and that's about it. So after Charles's mum dies and he's more racist, he
After
cuts
Charles is in charge.
he cuts mid-sized sedan's cheek for no reason. He's like, "Oh, I don't know why I did that." And
He's
like,
a crazy schizophrenic racist.
He did it because he's getting old.
right, he's getting old, 2021. And
Ooh,
so
wait, is this movie about how old people are racist?
This is
A
this
little bit.
movie.
Did I just figure out what M. Night meant by this?
I just
think-
figured out the twist. And old people are awful.
I think that guy was just kind of awful all around.
Yeah,
think-
but
I
he's
think
also
that-
old, and old people are racist.
I think much like The Visit, this just falls under the category of M. Night Shyamalan is scared of old people, so he just depicts them as horribly creepy.
What do you think M. Night Shyamalan may have had like an old racist grandpa?
Probably.
Probably, or like a
Philadelphia.
nanny or something, maybe.
Yeah.
M.
And
Night, M. Night seems like the kind of guy who had a nanny as a kid.
Right.
Mm-hmm,
But I just
you just what, Josh?
I just want it to be over.
I just want him to stop, you know? I
How
can't
does he keep getting away with it?
I can't keep doing this.
I know we say
Worth
that a lot as
noting.
a joke about various filmmakers. Genuinely, how does M. Night Shyamalan keep getting away with this?
M. Night has not made a good movie in what, at least 10 years? Split was maybe okay.
I didn't even care for Split.
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of Split. Glass isn't any good.
Glass is horrible.
Well, that's just. I think I would rather watch this than Glass
M.
again.
Night hasn't made a good movie since 2002. And
If you like that movie, and not everyone does.
Unbreakable's fine.
I think most people liked Unbreakable.
Also, from like an objective point of view, it is at least a well written.
it is a
It
competent
is a
film.
movie.
This like even beyond, you know, we clown on him for his writing because he doesn't know how human people speak or what their names are. But this movie
their
isn't
names
even made like this feels like a student film.
Mhm.
The way that the camera works, there's a part where he makes it look like a home video for no reason other than to just make it look like a home video. There's 1,001 shots that do nothing to help the movie other than to drag out the runtime.
M.
There's-
Night Shyamalan discovers Instagram filters.
Pretty much. There's he probably got the idea for this where he was like using the face app thing and he made himself look old. He's like, oh,
Like, oh,
old.
oh my god!
Old.
He was on the beach
And,
and he used the filter.
and he's like, I read this book once. It was just like this.
What if I made it worse?
What if I made it
in every
racist?
way imaginable?
What if I made a racist
Also-
version of this story?
Worth noting that the family's
Nothing's
from
worth
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Philadelphia reference, M. Night Shyamalan reference.
Oh, M. Night
True.
Shyamalan likes Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I get that.
Average
True.
Philadelphian.
Most normal Philadelphia
I really
resident.
hope
So they-
M. Night Shyamalan is not the most normal Philadelphian. I would really hope not.
So, just I
I
just
know
wanna move
Philadelphia
past
has its issues, but man,
I want to move past this. After cutting his cheek open,
I want to move
and-
past this movie.
after cutting his cheek open and it scars over instantly, they figure out, okay, the beach is making us old. And then,
2021.
well,
But it's not a twist. Because
it's not a twist.
the
Oh, no,
only
no,
thing that all
that's
of
not
these
the
people
twist. The twist
Well,
is
yes.
stupider.
I more mean like the only unifying thing that all of these people have in common is the beach. They're all getting older. It took them too long to make that connection, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, I guess you could argue shock. Maybe they saw a dead body, and then also all this crazy stuff is happening. But that, I don't know.
But this movie's dumb. They keep showing this
movie's
one
old.
guy up on the cliffs who's like watching them.
This
They
one
keep-
guy being the
Guess
director
who that
and
is.
writer
Guess
of the
who's
movie.
on the cliff.
And,
That's
and
actually
with that, why show us that? Why
right.
not like? Because you see the dude on the cliff, but nobody else in the movie sees the dude on the cliff.
No.
They
kid
mentioned.
The
Yeah,
kid goes,
the
"Oh, that's a camera."
Well, but we see it
Well,
before
no.
that.
First they just like the kid is just like oh I keep seeing this glint from up there, like oh what is that? And then he's like oh I thought I saw someone moving up there. They're just like oh you're just a kid, you don't know what you're talking about.
But now you're turning into a 40-year-old virgin.
Now you're a grown man. No, he's not a
Oh.
virgin. He had a son.
Oh yeah, that's right. My bad. My B. My B.
It's
Oh.
really horribly creepy, but
I remember what
I
happened.
did it anyways.
I remember what happened next. Other than the kids growing up and them dragging that out for 15 minutes. But
Which
the
in
mum,
actually, with the math of this movie, they should have been.
they would have been like 40 by that point.
Mm.
But
Keep
the,
going, Josh. We're waiting on you here,
What
bud.
happens in this movie?
the woman has like a tumor and she's like, oh, it's only 3 centimeters. But then it looks like a golf ball. So they get the British guy who's a doctor and Jaren who's a nurse to like cut it out. And every time he goes to cut it out, Charles, the British guy's like, there's this movie with Jack Nicholson and Marlon Brando. Do you know the movie?
See, hold on. No, I'm gonna stop you there because I actually like that bit. I thought it was fun.
I really enjoyed that bit. I was
I'm
about
not
to
saying
say
in a bad
that.
way. I'm not saying in a bad way. It made me laugh every time it happens.
It made me
And I
happy.
think
Right,
it-
I'm a big fan of comedic repetition.
I think that's like realistic though.
Yeah,
Like, I think that's
absolutely.
meant to be, but yeah, that's pretty realistic. And they keep being like, "Hey, there's a woman that we need to cut open." So they keep trying to cut open her stomach, and it heals in seconds. So she's just got like 6 scars there now. And so
then after they were all on the beach. Jaren, the best character in the movie, suggests they put their dirty, filthy, sandy hands in her open wound.
Ugh, I don't
Surely
like talking
it
about
won't
it.
get infected.
Can we move past this quickly?
So yeah,
Also,
they all make sure to rub their hands in sand and then dig it into the wound, into the
They always
stomach.
try to spit on their hands.
They all grabbed the rusty knife from the end.
They
of
all
the
grab
movie
rusty
and
knives
just-
and cut it open themselves.
They just rub it. They rub the rust all over their hands.
They make sure it's weird that they had that point of Charles actively sneezing into the open wound.
he spit in it. He straight up spit in the wound.
He
He was like, "Oh."
threw up. He spit up like stomach bile. It was messed up.
Yeah, he just threw up into that wound pretty much.
A bird flew overhead and just pooped in it. It was so weird.
They had the dog like come back to life for a second and just defecate in the wound and then run off and die again. It was really bizarre.
He just came up and started licking. He was like,
Jaren at one point is like, "Oh, I got a plan," and just shoves a rock in there. Like, I don't know why. So
a crab crawls out of the ocean like a lobster and just
there's-
crawls in and starts living inside the wound. It was so
A bird-
weird.
a bird swoops down, picks up a fish in its beaks, and then drops it directly into there, like pinpoint accuracy.
A dead whale beaches, and the air pressure from the time that it's on this beach, because time is moving quickly, makes it explode, and all of the guts from the dead whale go inside this wound.
A turtle like walks onto land with a can of sixes around its neck and crawls in there.
and lays its eggs.
No. And all of this happens in the film, and then mid-sized sedan looks at this and goes, "Oh no!"
Oh damn.
Oh damn. This, I'm this movie. I'm surprised this movie didn't have a Twinkies reference in it, where like one of the characters has one and it never grows old because that's the thing with Twinkies. Or maybe M. Night would have continued his environmentalist side from The Happening, and he has a turtle crawl up with the 6 around its neck, and it just looks in the camera and goes, "This is the world we live in," and then he dies.
I would have loved to have seen a lobster in this movie because lobsters don't die.
I thought, do you know what it should have been? They should have had like cockroaches crawling around the beach because they live forever.
I don't think it's that they live forever; they're just really hard
I
to
think
kill.
they just they
but
just can't
lobsters
die from a nuke.
Lobsters
no,
do
no,
live
I got it.
forever.
You have all of these characters, and then you have one crocodile who lives.
No, I think it's lizards. I think lizards can only die if they're killed.
Yeah, but it's on a beach, so you could just use lobsters, which also only die if they're killed.
Well, if the people who are running this, because spoiler, it's all for drug trials. But if the
It's
people
in the title.
Right? Anyone watching this already knows.
If all the people like they're not actually trying to keep them on the beach, but they know they can't leave other than the coral reefs, why not put just one shark in there? Because sharks live for thousands of years or whatever. So, easy.
Yeah, but 1,000 years would be like a month.
Yeah, exactly. So you just every month you drop in a new shark. Easy.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's true.
And that means
so we surgically removed the tumor from the woman after everybody digs their dirty fingers.
Also, I know it was supposed to be really serious. But the main the guy whose name is Guy.
Guy Kappa.
Right.
As in I'm a Papa Kappa.
He has a French accent, which is close enough to an Austrian accent, which Arnold has in his real life, and also in the movie Kindergarten Cop, where he says, "It's not a tumor." So that's all I could think of in that scene.
Yeah, he does keep going. It's a tumor.
Okay, so speaking of
Move
Guy,
on, please do not.
Do you guys notice how we're talking about anything but the movie?
so hold on. So Guy, the character Guy, name of Guy, his entire character is it's mathematically, statistically impossible for them.
He's an actuary.
Actuary.
Actually, and he's like, there's a 95.4% chance that it was just heat stroke that killed this girl mid-sized sedan, but there's a 0.6% chance it was you. And mid-sized sedan being a pretty I will say,
Did you just say big size sedan? And if so, did you say it on purpose?
Yes. Mid-sized sedan is like the most reasonable person because he keeps getting accused of just straight up murder, and he's just like, "Hey, look, you're all freaking out. It's cool. I didn't do it. We're fine." And then the British guy stabs him to death.
Yes,
true.
He should be big size sedan because he's built like a freaking train.
He is quite the large sedan.
He is a large individual.
They should have
He's
called him
a very
SUV.
big sedan.
They should have called him ATV actually.
They should have called him the A-Team van.
I should have called him anything but mid-sized
sedan. Well, okay, his name is Brendan. Okay.
Right, that is true.
Well,
man,
his rapper
private
name,
pool
I'm
Brendan.
sorry. I want to put some respect on mid-size sedan.
Yo, mid-sized sedan started from the bottom for real.
He started from the old beach.
Mid-sized sedan gets stabbed. Then they finally decide to take away crazy British man's knife.
He gets stabbed and he goes, "What was that movie again?"
He goes, "What's that movie? It had Jack Nicholson and Marlon Brando."
My favorite thing from the trivia of this movie is it says that the movie he's trying to think of is like the Missouri Breaks, I think.
Yes,
and then
I asked Siri that whilst watching it.
Underneath that little tidbit, it just says it has no relation to the plot of it whatsoever. So yeah, then they take the knife off the clearly crazy man who's got dementia.
Because he's old.
Because he is old, 2021. And so What happens after that? After that, the
cares?
kids
Then, well,
grow.
then he takes a bone from his dead mother's body, and like starts like itching his head with it.
Yeah, and he's like talking to his mum.
Right.
And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's just stress. Like it's just stress of the job."
What
Um,
job? What job is this man
he,
doing?
he's like the chief medical director of an office of a
Right.
hospital.
He makes a point of saying that every time someone accuses him of being a crazy person, he says, "No. Trust me, I'm a doctor."
Cool. Yeah. So I skimmed
Oh.
this movie, so I missed a lot of these little like
Oh,
details.
after this, Jaren's like, "Does any of us have any swimming ability so that we could swim around the water and go to one of the shores that's on the other side of the lake? Because then we can, go get some help." And no one like speaks up.
No
Then
one says anything.
later in the movie, Jaren's like, "Oh, I'm like I was on the
I was
swim
on the
team, so I
swim
can,
team.
So just do that in the first place, maybe."
Nah, Jit tripping. He didn't have to.
But
Ah.
yeah. Then the kids get old, 2000, and
Couldn't even get through that one.
this movie's actively making me feel like I'm getting old.
I
The-
am old.
The daughter of the British guy and the main son, who is now they're about 15 and 17, I think they're meant to be. They sleep together in a tent and they walk out and she's pregnant. She's like 5 months pregnant.
It's just so stupid. So dumb.
And then- And they're like, "Oh, Joe's like, if she walks into the emergency room, I would say she's 5 months pregnant." Cheers, mate. I didn't know that at all. Thanks.
My man, Jaren, MVP.
So they get her prepped for giving birth, and her mum like runs off to try and get out of the beach because there's one path off the beach, but every time they keep going through it, they keep like blacking out and then landing on the beach again.
Really
So
quickly, because we just bolted past the fact that this girl was pregnant. Like, way too quickly did we move past the
It's not
I
fact.
so
think we talked about it in the beginning.
It's just the movie moves past it really quickly.
Yes, sure.
That's also true.
Can you imagine how bad that sex must have been for both of them? Like, can you think about that for just a second?
I
don't want
really
to.
I don't want to. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
want
It
I'm
it
not
boils
gonna
down
think
to
about that.
to two 5-year-olds having sex, and that's
And
just
it's
that's something
weird.
that makes me sick even just saying it.
And
Despite that is the thing that is presented in this film.
I don't understand why M. Night Shyamalan was like, all right, we got these two 5-year-old kids. They're olding, right? They're getting old.
They got olded.
Why?
They got the old
Why? Don't put it in the movie.
because it's in like it's made to freak. I get why he did it. I don't agree with that. I get why he did it. It's just meant
Is
to
it
be
made
shocking.
to freak you out? Because it's not like presented that way in the movie. Like it's not like
Right,
a super
It's
shocking.
very matter of fact. It's just a thing that happens.
No,
It's
it's presented pretty shocking. Like
I think it's a little disturbing. Yeah.
they like when they show it, they build it up a lot. Like you see them walking off from the distance, and as they
Okay,
get
but
closer, you see
they build a lot of stuff up that does not need build up.
Right, no, I'm not right, but it is done to be shocking. Like even when she's
I
giving
just
birth, the
don't-
music and everything, it's made to be shocking. Like I get why.
It feels more like it's made to be shocking in the sense that it's a shocking moment.
Right. It feels like it's supposed to be shocking to the characters in the
Or
film, not
it's
to the
supposed to-
audience.
yeah, it
I
feels
thought
like
to
it's
the,
supposed
to
to
the
be
audience, it's absolutely repulsive.
It's
Right.
supposed to be shocking in the sense that this baby is being born on the old beach, not that it's two 5-year-olds having a child.
No, I think
That's
it's meant
the
to be
part.
shocking in both.
I think it is shocking in that
Right.
it is
I
not
don't
presented
think
that way.
that was M. Night's intent.
I don't think M Night's that weird a guy that he's like, oh
I
yeah, no,
do.
2
I
5-year-olds
do.
are gonna have sex.
I
and it's gonna
do.
be completely normal.
I think that I firmly believe that is the case.
It's just the point where so the mum walks off and she runs away from her daughter giving birth, and she blacks out and the other daughter wakes her up. Her daughter gives birth and the baby dies immediately because the old beach got her, and
Got
then
olded.
she got the old. After which, I think this is the point where what's his name? Trent and Maddox, which is the main family, like kids. They talk to Crystal, who's Charles's girlfriend, and she goes, "I was in love with a man called Giuseppe." At which point we all burst out laughing and subsequently forgot about the dead child.
Right.
Because the only person who has ever been called Giuseppe is the guy from Pinocchio.
Is that his name?
That's Pinocchio's dad's name.
Didn't
That's,
know
Tom Hanks, the pedophile.
Right. M. Night Shyamalan. All right, keep going. I just wanted to make sure we really, really, really hit home that in this movie, 2 5-year-olds get freaky in a tent. Like, I just wanted to make sure that is stressed enough.
Oh, I'm stressed, all right.
And I don't believe, Josh disagrees, I don't believe that the proper emphasis was put in the movie to why that is bad. Once again, Josh disagrees with me. He thinks that there was enough
very
emphasis.
rarely agree with Dalton, but I agree with him on this.
Josh thinks that enough emphasis was put on the fact that 2 5-year-old children
not so much
sex
that
in a
enough
tent.
emphasis was put on that, just that it was done to be shocking, and he tried to execute it in a disturbing, shocking way.
I just don't like it. It feels shocking for the wrong reasons.
I think maybe he had good intentions with that, but the execution was
Don't get me wrong. As we've learned with M. Night Shyamalan,
Shyamalan
the
had good intentions. With
You're right.
Daniel, are you back completely on my side?
I don't want to talk about this because I don't want to think about it.
The thing with M. Night Shyamalan, as we have learned, is that his execution is just awful in every
The thing about M. Night Shyamalan is he should be executed.
What happens after? Oh, Jaren is on the
Make it
swim
old.
team, and he's like, I'll go for a swim. I'll swim around it.
My man, Jaren.
Jaren, the swim team captain.
And Jaren, the nurse.
Jaren, the nurse. So he goes off on the swim, and then the Maddox also goes off for a swim a little bit later.
What was that scream in the background?
Okay.
That's how I feel about this movie.
This is going to be a weird segue. This is going to be a weird side plot. I have a box of cereal in my room called Strawberries and Scream, which was released when the new Scream movie came out. And the whole premise is that the Scream box will scream every time you open it. Mine is open and it just screams sometimes. So
Nice.
I can't do much to turn it off. There's no off button for it. It's just a thing that happens, and you may hear
Much
it.
like every plot point in this movie.
Much like this movie, I also want to scream.
Now that we've gotten to the bottom of that, I just wanted to get us to a point where I understood what was happening. So
Maddox also goes to a swim, and she finds Jaren's dead body.
yeah, it's a lot like the scene in The Happening where they do the jump scare in a place where people would have seen the jump scare happening before it happened. It reminds me a lot of that, where it's like you definitely would have seen this dead body floating towards you before it got to you and jump scared you. So that's a thing that happens.
And then what was after that? Oh, his Jaren's wife, who's an epileptic, is like, oh, I'm going to swim out. I'm going to use these pool noodles because that way when I pass out, I'm not going to drown. I have a sister, and then she seizes and has a seizure. Is that where she dies?
Who knows, man?
I believe so. Yeah, she seizures and then foams at the mouth and then dies. Which we learned later that was
a success.
That was a success because that was the medicine lasted 16 years of her life.
Dan, don't spoil the movie.
Well, my bad, man.
Is that okay? Is that everyone else dead? There's just the main family, the old guy, and oh no. So, Trent, the man child who has had a child,
Oh yeah, him
he's
and
hardcore.
Kara, the
He's down bad for Kara,
woman child.
the woman who had a child. He's
The
down bad for
child
her,
who had a child.
and he's simping for her, and he's like, "Hey, we're gonna get married. I want to marry you." And so Kara's like, "Okay, I'm gonna climb up these rocks because this whole beach
Well,
is
at first they talk about how they never had a prom or a
prom.
graduation,
Words
Which
that
is
they
so,
should not
like-
know.
which is a thing that these 5-year-olds are aware of.
Or
Right.
care about.
Right.
Right. Well, they
I
say
think,
that they have like the brain cells of their respective ages, but they
Yeah.
shouldn't.
But
Which so
doesn't
it makes
mean-
sense that they're talking coherently and everything, but they shouldn't have.
That doesn't mean their personality should also age
Right.
that quick. Like
And
that's
also, it means they should still know the stuff from when they were 5. They shouldn't know what graduation or prom is.
right.
because they
Although to
wouldn't
be
have
fair, this child as a 5-year-old did know what a condominium is. So
Well,
No, you got me
it's not as much that they know what it is. It's just that they care about it to the
Right.
extent that they care about it. That's the part that I'm like, why? Why do you care about your Number one, if you've got the brain cells of however old 2021 that they're supposed to be at this point, you should care a whole lot more about, I don't know, surviving than you do about prom and graduation. You know? Like it
I think I remember the movie establishing that their brains age with their bodies.
Yes, so they should care a
Yeah.
whole lot more about surviving than they care
Right.
about prom and or
They-
graduation.
Well, I mean,
Right.
they were still like mid-teenagers, weren't they?
Yeah, they were mid. That's for
they
sure.
were mid.
Yeah, they were mid-sized.
So after this little talk, Kara decides to climb the sheer mountain, the sheer cliff that is
brain.
stopping them. And so she's climbing up. Trent tries to follow her because he's whipped, and his family stop him. She gets to like the top, and then she passes out, which they determined earlier was like it's like deep sea diving, where if you go too far down, you can't just go back to the surface because you get altitude sickness or whatever. You have to like stop and rest so your body can catch up to the altitude that you're at. And there's something like that with the aging where you're aging fast, and now you're trying to age normally, your brain can't keep up and you black out.
Yeah, they kept saying a lot of things about cells, and I kind of just tuned out and assumed it was nonsense.
I just assumed that it was your body is aging so quickly that it's exerting a lot of effort to do that. And so you can't do the physical activity because your body is already tired.
It's only that though. Like no other physical activity wears them out.
Swimming.
Right. No, they swim perfectly fine.
Nah,
Wait.
not what's his face. He died in the ocean. He
Yeah, that's
passed
because
out.
that's because he passed out when he was.
Because he
got
didn't
too
go
far from
under the
beach.
coral. The coral is like a metal tube that protects you from the X-ray. Because this is scientific.
This movie is not supernatural. It's scientific.
It is
This
completely
could exist in
scientific.
real life.
This could happen. This is real.
This
Real?
has
happened to my
happened.
buddy
It happened
Jared.
to me.
This happened to my buddy mid-sized sedan.
All right, can we please get to the end of this movie?
Kara passes out the top, falls and dies. She's done out of the movie. Done. Boom. Gone.
Yeah, gone. Yeah.
And Trent's really upset about his baby mama.
Yeah, and Trent's very upset that this girl that he didn't know. is
Did we skim past the fact that the baby died?
We
No,
did, but it's
We did, but the movie also skimmed past
Right.
it. So.
The movie makes you forget about that in a second.
Right.
Then
Then I
also-
think
the
Then-
character plot points of Trent and Trent's baby mama would have worked without the baby. They
Right,
could have
yes.
just done it, but she had to get pregnant because they killed the baby off instantly.
right, the baby doesn't actually play a part in this, which is why I say I think it's just done for shock value.
But it's
like
I think the 2 5-year-olds having sex is shocking enough.
Right, but then you
I
can't.
think, but this was the easiest way to display that though,
Right.
without
like,
actually
without actually
having a
showing
sex
them
scene in this movie.
I'd
Them
rather
under
not
the
watch
tent,
2
Them
5-year-olds.
sneaking off under the tent and laying under the tent, and then that's enough. I don't need any more than that. I don't need a child.
No, because I'm
Yeah,
not
no one
gonna.
does.
I am not gonna think about 2 5-year-olds having sex.
This
So
movie made me think about it. When the two
It shoved it
5-year-olds
down your
snuck
throat.
off.
I'm not saying Don, I'm not saying I like it. I really am not. Trust me.
I'm saying it would have worked fine without it. Ah!
But
Can we move past the 5-year-olds having sex?
I'm trying to. I'm doing
Okay,
my best.
I think this is the point where we get to the one cool, creative, quirky,
Right.
visually interesting, genuinely creepy scene
So
in the cave.
Charles, the British guy, he's gone full dementia schizo, and
Yeah,
he's
he's
attacking the parents. Oh, the parents.
Well, no.
the
But
dad-
before that, we have it's the children are in the cave, and
no,
the,
don't, because that happens simultaneously. Because the parents send their kids to run away.
okay.
But no, so they set up that the dad is going blind by just shooting everything in blur and then not actually focusing on.
Yeah, so no, I remember it was when Priscilla, I think was her name.
Yeah, some Prisha, something like that.
Right. Wait, no, that
I
don't know. The woman with the seizure was dying. Whatever her name was.
Oh yeah,
The epilepsy lady, Jaren's wife, Jaren the nurse's wife.
Patricia.
That yeah. I was close. So she's dying and foaming at the mouth, and it does the same thing that the Rob Zombie Halloween movie does, but somehow worse, because it freeze frames, which, first of all, a freeze frame.
No one has used the freeze frame out of
in
TV shows from the
2021.
90s.
Right. But it's on the most blurry freaking frame ever.
Right, I like we were watching this. I was streaming this on with the fellas, and I thought my computer had crashed.
Yeah.
I literally moved
And-
my mouse around because I was like, "Oh crap, it's gone again."
And the Halloween 2007 Rob Zombie movie one is a horrible freeze frame, because it's baby Michael Myers' face like freaking out with his stupid little grin on or whatever, and it's also horribly motion blurred. And that was a more competent freeze frame than this movie that came out last year.
Yeah, and then
I hate M. Night.
and also, so they're doing this to illustrate that the dad's going blind, and the way that I would have done this, because I'm better than M. Night Shyamalan.
Tell me how you would do it, Joshua Clements.
So
Bagel.
You basically just have you either have him say, "I can't see," or, because that's a perfectly valid thing to do. If you're freaking out, you will say what is freaking you out. Or if you wanted to try and be creative, you can do the whole blurry thing, but you don't do it on a freeze frame. You do it as like something looking around, and then, or before that, you focus on his eye, because then you connect the two. You don't do a blurry freeze frame and then just a shot of him looking confused, because all he has done this movie is look confused. So I didn't know anything was up.
Nah, jit tripping. He's got
Then-
cataracts.
Then
You never
the
seen a
mum
man
is
with
going
cataracts
deaf.
before, Josh? That's exactly what happens. Their vision goes blurry in an instant, and then they freak out.
No, and they only see in freeze frames.
But he didn't freak out. That's the
didn't. He
problem.
was
He was
he
just
looked
like
confused.
he was more calm as his vision was going than he was throughout this entire movie.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's normal. This movie's completely normal.
And then while he's going blind, the mum is going deaf.
Yes.
Right.
So
and
they're
Josh claims that there was a scene where they tried to do the same thing, and like the audio cut out. But I just
They
don't
did.
believe that happened.
There's
They did.
it should
I
also
don't
be
believe
noted, we
that.
talk a lot, and we've talked a lot over the past few weeks in these Shyamalan movies about plot armor. This family, y'all, they have got the strongest plot armor I have ever seen in my life.
They have plot armor against time.
Like this family, the four of them are the four that are surviving at the end of it.
Well, okay.
Yes.
So Charles, the crazy guy,
Who's in
Is-
charge?
who's in
Not
charge?
anymore.
He's using the bone of his mother to like
Right.
cut the dad, and the mom
Which
can't
is
hear.
admittedly pretty hard.
Right, that's pretty tough. And the dad doesn't know what's like. He didn't really see him coming because his vision's blurry, and his wife didn't hear him coming because she's looking the other way, and so she doesn't know anything's going on until like after it started. And he keeps like cutting him open, and wounds heal instantly, which is that was kind of neat. Um, and so the parents send their kids away, and they're like, "Hey, run away!" And the kids go into this cave where Charles's girlfriend is, and they
It's set up earlier, admittedly in a very douchey and pretentious way, that she has some sort of like calcium deficiency, so her bones are very weak.
right, and so she gets like
Needs
she
calcium.
wants her daughter to not be hunched over because
Right.
you know. And so as these kids run into these caves, they hear Crystal, the girl, and the boy Trent lights a match, and Crystal keeps throwing rocks because she's like, "Don't look at me," and she's gone completely crazy, and she's trying to talk to them, but she's hysterical. And the kids keep crawling further and further back into this cave, into the darkness, and they keep lighting the matches. And as they get close, they see that she's like withered away pretty much. She's almost like a skeleton. And Crystal picks up a giant, pretty big, like boulder-ish rock and holds it above her head. And then, because she's so weak, the rock slips and breaks her arm. And
They're coming
so-
to arrest us for talking about old.
We've watched 2 M. Night Shyamalan movies in a row. They can't allow that.
We watched 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna watch 5
Oh.
by the end of time this is done.
We will
Um,
watch 6
make
by
it
the end of the
stop.
time this is all done.
No.
So-
Stuart Little is great.
It's still an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Yeah,
So in this actually genuinely creepy scene, her bones keep breaking, but then because she's healing, they set in the way they break, so she looks really contorted, and she's just like flailing around, smacking her arms on the rocks, and it's breaking over and over
yeah,
again.
and it is a genuinely freaky deaky scene
Right, she's
that
like
felt so out of
screaming.
place in this horrible movie.
She's screaming the whole time. It's like it's awful.
She's
Um,
crawling around like on the floor, like the old lady in The Visit, but it actually makes sense in this. It's not just old people are scary. Wow, aren't old people so scary? I'm scared of old people.
2021.
True.
And
Come
then
on, we gotta rush through. Get through this plot, Josh. Keep going.
then she dies, and the kids are just freaked out, and I'm like, oh man, that's the one.
The kids, yeah. And
So
then-
as the crazy old man is cutting up the parents, the mum grabs the knife and cuts him, and she's like, the knife is now rusted, even though it doesn't make sense because they set up that organic cells grow old, but dead cells don't, which imply that any sort of inorganic cells wouldn't like rust or anything.
Don't. Just keep
Right.
going.
It's just
So, yeah.
that's the least confusing part of that scene because
And to
the-
be
the
fair, I mean,
rust
how long have they been here at this point?
Like 6 hours.
Never mind. I thought-
no, it was like at least like
Yeah, 'cause
it was
there's
like
a
almost a
nighttime.
full day because it's nighttime. Yeah.
Saltwater
Well,
rust
12
stuff super
hours,
quick.
I'd say.
Saltwater rust things really, really quickly. Not to that extent, but
Right.
Keep going.
That was the least ridiculous part because the rust enters his bloodstream and it starts burning him from the inside
It
out.
makes him a
It tur-
zombie.
It turns him into Anakin Skywalker, which is just not what rust does to blood. Like it'll give you tetanus and that can eventually like
don't-
kill
well,
you because
but
it'll
do
give
we
you
know what it-
lockjaw or whatever.
Do we know what it does to like old blood, like blood cells that are aging rapidly?
No, but I'm pretty sure it would just be a quicker
Guys,
version
I
of
think-
tetanus,
I- Can
not
Can we move on? Can we
turning
just-
them into.
I think you're
Okay.
forgetting that this movie is real. This movie was observed by Mythbusters. Like this is real.
This is all
science.
really. This really happened. This was
Yeah.
a documentary.
This is a biopic.
This is going to be the longest episode of the podcast because we're at the 58-minute mark and haven't even finished the plot.
Okay, then they're like still like young adults at this point. Then it cuts. Then they're old adults, and then
They're
they're
old
talking.
Parents are dead. The parents are dead.
Yeah, their parents die.
take
The,
time out of
the
their
daughter
very
sings
short
the
lives
song
To build a
that M Night
sandcastle.
and his daughter wrote. They build a sandcastle. which I think I
No, no.
personally would have done a lot
They,
sooner.
they
But that's
agree.
just
They
me.
agree that we need to keep trying to get off this place, and then they go, "Hey, do you want to build a sandcastle?" Like the
Yeah,
just
no,
building
that's
a
how
sandcastle.
that actually happens.
That's
Just building a
completely genuine.
sandcastle is perfectly fine, and I would agree with you, Daniel. I'd do that. I'd like try and relax in my final moments, but you do not get to do that after you also go, "Hey, let's try and actively get off this island that is killing us every second."
After you witnessed the death of both your unborn child and your baby mama, you
And
don't
your
get
parents.
No, the child was very much born.
you witnessed the death of your born child and your baby mama and
And
both
your
of your
parents.
parents and a bunch of strangers.
And mid-sized sedan.
You don't witness all of those things and then have a nice little quirky sandcastle building montage. You just don't get
But
to do
anyways,
that.
as they're doing this quirky sand building montage, they start reminiscing about their
Idlib.
youth, which was
Idlib.
like 12 hours ago, and their friend with a stupid name Idlib, who they made this little like code language with, and then he's like, "Oh, I still have one of the things that I never decoded. What if why not decode it since I'm growing old 2021?" So they go and decode it, and then it says, "My uncle is scared of the coral reef." And I guess the implication is that the uncle is meant to be M Night or M Night's I don't know. Then they think for some reason, oh, the coral reef, that could be like the metal tube that we mentioned earlier that'll protect us from the X-ray, because this is like an X-ray because it's scientific. So then they go and they swim out into the coral reef, and they don't think to take off their baggy outerwear clothes, even though they're wearing swimsuits, and that would be the logical thing to do. And now they apparently have logical grown person brains, so that is a thing they would think of. They swim into the coral, and it get girl's like blouse gets stuck on the thing, and it's a really dramatic scene. It's meant to be a really dramatic scene, and then they make you think that she's dead or whatever, and then it cuts to what I thought was a joke, what I said as a joke. M. Night watching with binoculars, like just straight up. It was just M. Night on a cliff watching with binoculars.